Reddit's got a duo of relationship stories today, and they're going to tug at your heartstrings. In our first story, OP is cheated on by his partner twice, but even though his partner's broken his trust, he's not the most innocent guy on the block either. In our second story, OP's partner decides to pull the plug on their relationship after 13 years, so he's at a loss for what to do. Rather than give up and move on, OP's doing everything within his power to win back his girlfriend's love. To find out how these stories end, get yourself a coffee and grab a bowl of popcorn so we can get into it.
I'm 23, my ex-girlfriend's 20, and we were together for a year and 4 months. We met last year in March and moved in together after 2 months because of her strict parents and some other stuff that was going on. She was still in high school at the time, but when she finished, we thought it'd be best if she got a job because the financial burden on me was heavy. She had 2 jobs that didn't last more than a month, but then she got a job at a sports store. She was very happy because it meant that while we were working in different stores, we'd be in the same mall. Our relationship wasn't always the best, and we had a lot of fights because of her mentality. She cheated on her last boyfriend of 3 years, but I didn't pay much attention to that when we were getting together. Anyway, on her first day at her new job, she came to me during her break to tell me all about it. That's when she started telling me all about a guy who works there. We'll call him James. In her words, this guy was funny like me, but taller. For reference, I'm 5'7" and she's 5'9", and this guy she was talking about was the same height as her. I felt like something was wrong, but again, I didn't pay much attention to it. After a few weeks, things between us started deteriorating. She became cold, sneaky, started lying a lot, wouldn't let me see her phone, and would go out with a friend from work only to meet up with James. I found this out because one day she said she was going to grab a coffee with a female friend, but I saw all 3 of them sitting at the same table, and at this point, I'd already told her that I didn't want her speaking with him anymore. I was tired of arguing, her sneaky attitude, and the fact that it felt like we were roommates. A little later on, we ended up having a fight about her not showing me her phone. That's when I had enough and slapped her. I know it was wrong, but I felt like something was wrong and I just couldn't hold back. She later went out to meet up with her friend and I got myself ready for work. When I got home, I started packing her things because I knew something was up. When she got back, she started telling me about how she lied to me. She told me there were times when she said she was home or with her grandma, only to be in James's car driving around. She told me about how she'd text him while I was sleeping, met up with him outside of my workplace, and then slept with him. This destroyed me. I kicked her out, and things got messy between our families. After a few days, she wanted to meet, and like an idiot, I agreed to it. She apologized for lying to me, and said that she didn't actually sleep with James. She just said those things to hurt me. I forgave her, and she promised that she wouldn't cheat or lie to me again. I took her back and everything was fine for a few weeks, but then she started with the attitude and our fights became more intense. This time, a lot of hurtful things were said by both of us, and this lasted for a few weeks, after which I caught her talking with another guy. This was 8 months after everything went down with James, and I ended up kicking her out again. This time, the truth really came out. It turns out she slept with James twice, and she went to see him shortly after we got back together. Not long before this most recent breakup, she met up with her ex-boyfriend and talked about how I overreacted about her interactions with this new guy. I'm ruined. What can I do? She wants me back, saying that she's changed, but I don't love her anymore. I only love the image that I had of her being pure.
While I was sympathetic to OP at the start, that pretty much all went away when he hit his partner. OP has no business being in a relationship and needs to focus on learning how to deal with his emotions. While I'm never on the cheater's side, if I'm being honest, in this case I can't say that I care too much. Whether it's a man hitting a woman or a woman hitting a man, it's disgusting and shouldn't be tolerated under any circumstances. This is a super toxic relationship that both OP and his partner need to end. Let's see if anyone agrees in the comments.
Economy Depth says, just leave, show some pride as a man, and get a new woman. You're still spending money on a woman who you let sleep with other dudes, and you're shocked that she did it again? I said let, because you still kept her around after finding out. She has no need to respect you because you didn't demand respect by leaving and making her earn yours back. Now you want to hit a woman and act like a little punk. She's not your wife and can move how she wants. She doesn't like your skills in the bedroom, so got it from somewhere else. If you want to keep kissing other men's junk, stay. If you want self-respect, leave. Better yourself and get better women. I've done the work says. People naturally see things in black and white. Many people commenting haven't walked a mile in your shoes, so they can't truly relate to the emotional murder you were suffering at the hands of your girlfriend. Being cheated on is a mind-altering experience. Nothing short of a close relative passing away comes close to being cheated on. It can easily drive someone to react violently, but it's understandable. People commit murder and off themselves due to infidelity. We never really know how we'll react to being cheated on. You were suffering death by 1,000 tiny cuts, and it was cumulative. Too much buildup of pressure will cause devastating failure, so something has to give. People with problems are trying to deal with far more than we can see from outside, and it can cause all manner of poor decision-making. Cheating is never a solution to anything, but it's now estimated to be at or above 50% for all couples over time. 50% is extremely depressing. Good luck to you, and good riddance to your cheater.
I have to say I don't agree with this last comment. I don't particularly like using foul language, but hitting your partner is a bitch-made move, and it will take a lot for me to excuse this sort of behavior. People need to learn how to deal with their emotions, speak up, and exit situations if they're being harmed in any way.
I'm 25, and my girlfriend Ray is 24. We were together for 13 years before we broke up a few months ago. We were high school sweethearts, but recently she suddenly said she couldn't live with me anymore because it felt like she was living with her dad. I love her more than anything, so the last thing I wanted was to lose her, so I agreed to separating. She's been so overwhelmed with graduating college, starting a teaching job, and just adulting. I wanted to give her the space she needed and allow her to figure things out so we can get back to our lives. It's been rough. I miss her every day, and I won't lie to you. I've started and ended every day crying. We agreed to stay friends while she figured things out, and I tried to find excuses for us to hang out so I could show her that I've been making the changes she wanted. We'd do things like trivia nights with our friends, karaoke, and bar hopping. No matter what we were doing or who we were hanging out with, she'd avoid me like the plague. She'd get annoyed at my very presence and say how she's no good to be around right now, and that she has to work on herself to be the woman I need. She blocked me on all social media, but not my friends. They told me about her stories and posts, and apparently, working on herself means going to Taylor Swift concerts and taking trips out of state with guys she just met. I felt betrayed, heartbroken, but more than anything, I just wanted to hold her again. Her sister's been a close friend and confidant during this time, and after I mentioned the posts that my friends sent me, she told me about how my girlfriend was all over the place getting drunk, partying, and taking home random guys on a nightly basis. It felt like someone ripped my heart out of my chest. I didn't know what to do. I moved back home with my parents because I can't afford to rent on my own. I can't afford therapy, so I took to journaling as an outlet. Anyway, some time passed, and one day, my girlfriend asked to come to the apartment to make sure she got everything before we officially moved out. She asked that I not be there when she picks up her stuff, so I agreed, and decided to grab a sandwich and wait at the community pool. 5 hours later, I go back to the apartment and my girlfriend's sitting on the couch sobbing. Apparently, as she was looking for her stuff, she found my journal and started reading it. She started saying how sorry she was, and how she never meant for the breakup to affect me the way it did. I confronted her about hooking up with other guys, and she said her sister was lying. She said that since the day we separated, her sister's been trying to hook her up with other guys, which goes against what her sister told me. I was hesitant at first, but that night we had a long talk about everything. We didn't say we were getting back together, but since that night, we've started hanging out again. We've even gone to Disney World and out of state for a concert. It feels so good to have her back in my life, but I don't know where we truly stand. We're having fun, acting like boyfriend and girlfriend again, but there's no intimacy, and frankly, I don't know if I can trust her. I want to believe her when she says that her sister lied to me, and we've both cut her out of our lives. Still, I saw the posts and the Snapchats. She was definitely very familiar with those men, so who knows how far it went? Am I the idiot for holding on to something she threw away?
To me, it sounds like OP's partner gave up on the relationship, and he's the only one fighting for it. Towards the end, he said that they're acting like boyfriend and girlfriend again, but without the intimacy. For me, intimacy is a big part of being in a romantic relationship with someone. Without it, you're more or less just friends. If I had to give my opinion on the sister, it doesn't sound like she was lying at all, especially since there's footage of OP's partner getting up to all sorts since they separated. For the most part, this whole trying to work on myself stuff is a load of nonsense. There's no reason as to why she couldn't have done that while in a relationship. If she took 6 months out of her life and went on a spiritual retreat to sit in the mountains, maybe I'd give it a pass. But for the most part, it's just an excuse to get out of a relationship. Anyway, let's see what's being said in the comments.
Abbreviations Old says, "See, what happened is, she wanted to go through the hoe phase like so many of these girls do, and expected you to wait for her when she's done, as long as she doesn't meet someone who is better than you. It's not love, it's the fear of being alone and not having a companion for you. Don't call it love. It sounds like you're an extremely codependent guy with very low self-confidence. Staying with her has already made her lose respect for you, and you hearing her say love yous are just the confirming factor of how low your confidence is. Do as you will. I expect you to come back with a throwaway account saying that she cheated again." Yank Sargent says, "Maybe it's a good idea to go no contact and start working on yourself for a while. From what I've read, it sounds like you have a few codependent issues, and she may feel smothered by your constant presence. You guys have been together since you were kids and never got to develop any type of independence from each other. Build some new hobbies and expand your friend group. See what's out there. Keep her as a friend, and over time you may be drawn back together again. You don't want to regret that you didn't get the opportunity to enjoy new experiences years down the road. At 37 years old, married to my first girlfriend, I know what that can feel like."
I think these Redditors are spot on when it comes to OP building confidence. Sometimes, pulling away is the best way to attract what you want. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Coffee and Popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.